Vasishta continued. All these worlds, O Ram, appear in Brahman the Absolute, but they are apprehended as an independent, substantial reality on account of ignorance or non-wisdom. It's really on account of the conceptualising mind. We have this gift, if you like, for thought. As far as we know, there's no other being in all of creation that has the ability to conceptualise as we do. And we're totally enamoured of that ability. So enamoured that we believe that what we think about is actually real. And this is ignorance or non-wisdom. Such an erroneous notion ceases on the arising of wisdom. Wisdom is about non-conceptual reality. It's about understanding without conceptualising. Erroneous perception makes all this appear as the world. Right perception brings about the cessation of this error. Ram, this error is not dispelled except by right exertion with the right attitude and wisdom. Fie on that person, O Ram, who, though such possibility of overcoming this error exists, remains sunk in the mire of world illusion. We've all got the opportunity. We've all got the opportunity to turn to our own awareness and to appreciate its nature. But we don't. We've got more important things to get on with. And that is the spur to our own limitations, to our own sorrow and misery. Blessed are you, Ram, that the right spirit of inquiry has already manifested in your heart. When the truth is realised through such inquiry, strength, intelligence and radiance increase. We've now got a description of the qualities of a liberated person. And I find such passages a little bit dubious because we cannot describe the liberated person. It's as if somebody's liberated, then they have to exhibit this quality or that quality. And then this becomes a yardstick by which you can measure whether somebody's liberated or not. This is a total red herring. Our only responsibility is self-enquiry. Another side effect of describing the merits of an enlightened person is you might try to emulate some of these qualities. And whilst that might be good for the moral order of society or whatever, it's got absolutely no spiritual value whatsoever. So let's just see what they've got to say about the sage here. The sage who has realised the truth and who is liberated from error, here and now beholds this world as he would in deep sleep, without the least craving. He's totally unaffected by the world, in other words. He does not apprehend with his inner intelligence even those objects and experiences which seek him unsought, for his own heart is withdrawn into itself. He has no hopes for the future, and he does not recall the past, nor does he even live in the present, and yet he does all. Asleep he is awake, awake he sleeps. So he's asleep to the world, but in this sense he's awake to the truth. And being apparently awake, not sleeping, he sleeps as far as the world's concerned. He does all, yet he does nothing. Inwardly, having renounced everything, though outwardly he appears to be busy, he is ever in a state of equilibrium. His actions are entirely non-volitional. So that's what makes them non-actions, is that they're non-volitional. Be careful about this description of a state of equilibrium. It seems like this person is somehow impassive. No matter how you knock them, they're going to be unaffected by it. It's not the case. They can be knocked, they can be hurt. But what happens is equilibrium will establish itself. They can be knocked from that equilibrium. In fact, throughout the course of the day, they'll be knocked from that equilibrium regularly, many times a day, but they can always come back to it. This is what equilibrium is. It's about finding a balance. It's not about being in a state of balance continuously. It's about knowing to come back to the balance, not forgetting your equilibrium. So this is what it means. But it's very easy to get into this yogic idea of imperturbable, cut off my arm and I won't feel it. That's not the case. So we've got these yogic ideas getting in the way here. So we must be careful about that. The sage is unattached to anything or anybody, hence his behaviour appears to be devout to the devout and harsh to the harsh. He is a child among children, old man among old men, hero among heroes, youth among youth, and sorrowing among the sorrowful. I think what we're getting at here is that anybody that wants to can relate to this person, can relate to the sage, whether hero, child, or whatever. His soft and sweet words are full of wisdom. He has nothing to gain from noble deeds, yet he is noble. He has no longing for pleasure, and hence is not tempted by it. He is not attracted to bondage or even to liberation. The net of ignorance and error having been burnt by the fire of wisdom, the bird of his consciousness flies away to liberation. The bird of his consciousness is on its own nature, is nesting in its own nature. He is not elated when his efforts bear fruit, nor is he worried if they do not. He appears to take and to abandon with the playfulness of a child. He is not surprised if the moon shines hot or the sun shines cold. Knowing that the self, which is the infinite consciousness, can bring all these about, he is not surprised even by such wondrous phenomena. He is not timid, and he is not given to outbursts of anger. Knowing that beings are constantly born and that they die constantly, he does not give way to joy or grief. He knows that the world arises in his own vision, even as the dream objects arise when one dreams. And hence, all these objects are of momentary existence. Therefore he does not feel any justification for either pity or joy. When all such concepts like pleasure and pain, desirable and undesirable cease, all notions in the mind cease. Error does not arise again, even as oil is not obtained from burnt seed. I think the only benefit to this kind of passage is to encourage us to look to our own awareness here and to see if there's anything there which this relates to. And if it doesn't, no problem, no worry.